Exclusive. A looming trade deal threatens British food producers, and our farmers are furious. The UK's pursuit of a new trade deal with the US is igniting a firestorm of controversy, pitting the government's ambition for economic growth against the very fabric of British farming and food security. Whispers of a potential agreement within weeks have sent shockwaves through the agricultural sector, with leading voices echoing deep-seated fears of compromised standards and a devastating blow to British food producers. The stakes are incredibly high. Previous post-Brexit trade deals, notably with Australia and New Zealand, granted tariff-free access to beef and lamb, sparking outrage amongst UK farmers already burdened by stricter welfare regulations than their international counterparts. The deal with Australia, finalised in late 2021 by then-Prime Minister Liz Truss and enacted in 2023, included bespoke sanitary and phytosanitary (SBS) standards designed to avoid being more trade restrictive than necessary to protect human life and health. This seemingly innocuous clause, however, masked a deeper concern: the potential erosion of UK food standards. The current push for a US trade deal, fueled by President Trump's blanket 10% tariff on global imports, rising to 25% for aluminum, steel, and cars, and the UK Labour government's emphasis on economic expansion, has heightened anxieties. The pressure to expedite a deal is palpable, but the potential consequences are far-reaching and deeply troubling. Adding fuel to the fire is the outspoken concern of Henry Dimbleby, author of the previous government's influential food strategy. Dimbleby has joined the chorus of farmers warning against a deal that could severely undermine UK agriculture. There is no point in creating a way of farming in this country that produces nutritious food, restores the environment, and has high levels of animal welfare, and then import food that is produced in ways that would be illegal for our farmers, he stated. You just export those harms abroad, and in the meantime destroy our rural communities. The government has been clear that it will not do this, and it must stick to that promise. Dimbleby's concerns are echoed by many within the industry. He highlights the post-Brexit shift away from the EU's higher food and environmental standards, painting a stark picture of the UK now facing pressure from a US administration that champions deregulated, corporate-led agriculture and demands access for lower standard, often heavily processed products. The question, Dimbleby emphasizes, is one of accountability. So when ministers talk about trade generating growth, we have to ask, growth for whom? Certainly not for British farmers, food security, or the environment. The implications extend beyond the economic. Farmers, already grappling with the government's controversial changes to agricultural inheritance tax, are bracing for further protests should an unfavorable trade deal materialize. The simmering discontent threatens to boil over into widespread demonstrations. Martin Lyons, CEO of the Nature-Friendly Farming Network, underscores the gravity of the situation. The government was elected on a promise not to undermine UK food standards through imported products, and it is absolutely critical that they stick to that. We cannot ask British farmers to maintain high environmental and animal welfare standards while opening the door to imports produced under significantly weaker regulations. The potential consequences of a poorly negotiated trade deal are multifaceted and far-reaching. Erosion of UK farming standards. A flood of lower standard imports could drive down prices, forcing British farmers to compete unfairly or abandon their operations altogether. This threatens not only livelihoods, but also the unique character of British agriculture. Compromised food security. Reliance on imported food weakens the UK's resilience to global shocks and supply chain disruptions. A self-sufficient agricultural sector is crucial for national security. Environmental damage. Lower environmental standards in imported products could negate the progress made by UK farmers in sustainable practices, undermining efforts to protect the environment. Loss of rural communities. The decline of British farming would have devastating consequences for rural communities, leading to job losses, economic hardship, and the erosion of rural character. The current situation demands immediate and decisive action. The government must prioritize the long-term sustainability of British agriculture, upholding the promises made to the farming community and ensuring a future where food security, environmental protection, and the prosperity of rural communities are not sacrificed at the altar of short-term economic gains. The looming trade deal represents a critical juncture, a crossroads where the UK must choose between a prosperous, sustainable future for its agriculture or a path paved with compromised standards and the potential ruin of its farming heritage. The farmers' voices, backed by experts like Henry Dimbleby, demand to be heard. The government's response will define the future of British food for generations to come.